Hey, this is C&D channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 49. Overall, pretty good card in my opinion. The only fight that wasn't it was just kind of sloppy was Vic versus Lazaro. Otherwise, I liked the whole card. I thought it was just a solid night of fights. Some really good finishes, both submission-wise and knockout-wise. Of course, the main event was I got a big underdog winning that one, and a new title contender in Rafael dos Anjos. My picks were pretty good. Got 8 out of 11. The ones that I missed would be Chas Skelly versus Tom Niinimaki, James Vick versus Valmir Lazaro, and Rafael dos Anjos versus Benson Henderson. As far as bonuses go, there were 4 performance of the night bonuses, so there wasn't a fight of the night, and those bonuses went to Rafael dos Anjos, Jordan Mein, Talis Leites, and Ben Saunders. So let's get started. Rafael dos Anjos defeated Benson Henderson by knockout in the first round. A lot of people were complaining early stoppage. I agree. I know Stan was saying he has a hard time, Benson Henderson has a hard time getting up. That was because Big John was on top of Benson Henderson. I'm going to say this, I just kind of doubt it would matter. You know what I mean? The way I know we saw it with, Pat Barry, Czech Congo, or, Frankie Edgar, Gray Maynard, but, I didn't really get the feeling that, I guess anything can happen in MMA, but I didn't get the feeling that if it were stopped later, I thought Benson would just be taking, at least 2 or 3 more punches. But in defense of that, let the fight decide when the fight's over, in a sense, Let the fighter decide when it's over, or the fight itself decide when it's over, and not necessarily have the referee jump in. I understand the whole safety issue here, but this is also a high-stakes fight, too. I feel you kind of have to let it go a little longer. This kind of shows something about Benson Henderson. It's something I noticed. I think I even mentioned it in the previews. I'm gonna hedge here. I did say that I'm not super confident in Benson Henderson winning, and I like what I saw from Dos Anjos. So I wasn't super confident in this pick. I did pick Henderson, but when I watched the fight, I even said Dos Anjos is a live dog here, and he really was. With that said, Benson's defense in the stand-up just isn't that good. He's not a great boxer. I think I mentioned that in the prediction video, that he's not a great boxer, and it kind of showed here. Dos Anjos could pretty much beat Benson Henderson to the punch, and he's pretty heavy-handed. A lot of this fight just took place on the feet, and the more it took place on the feet, the more it favored Dos Anjos. One thing that this actually makes me question, though, is Dos Anjos just got a really good victory over Benson Henderson, who's the number 2 guy in the division. He also has another strong one in Donald Cerrone not too long ago. This is kind of MMA math here, but how good is Khabib Nurmagomedov to just ragdoll and dominate Dos Anjos the way he did, and seeing how well Dos Anjos did against Benson Henderson, the number 2 guy? It makes me wonder if you're dominating such an elite level guy, how good are you? Could he be a champion? It makes me wonder. As far as next fights go, though, Dos Anjos, you can give him you can argue title shot. He's a very fresh challenger to Pettis or Melendez. He beat the number 2 guy. He knocked him out. I mean, you can put that in the highlight reel. You can put that in like all the commercials leading up to like, if he ever gets a title shot, If not, he can get the winner of like, if Eddie Alvarez beats Donald Cerrone, maybe give him Dos Anjos. It might give him an instant title shot. If Nate Diaz ever comes back, go with Dos Anjos there. Benson Henderson, maybe he can get the loser of Cerrone versus Alvarez. Wouldn't mind seeing a third Cerrone fight, or Henderson Alvarez. He's fought all the top guys, so now it's a case of more like Rustam Khabilov type guys with him. You can get guys like a Bobby Green, or like the loser of Masvidal versus James Krause or something like that, because you kind of have to use him now to fight those like really scary up and comer type. Not scary, but like just up and comer types. Next fight after that, Jordan Mein defeated Mike Pyle by TKO in the first round. Really nice way of getting the finish here. Jordan Mein, he feinted to the finishing left hook, right cross, left hook combo. Great stuff from Mein. I think he is definitely one of the better, if not one of the best boxers in MMA. He's a guy that uses footwork well. He uses angles really well. And he uses footwork in a way that is good at defending takedowns. And lateral movement. It's kind of funny. He has more fights than Mike Pyle, but he's like more than a decade younger than him. So it's kind of funny calling him a prospect, but in a sense he still is, because he's still improving. With that said, I think Mein should get like Thiago Alves next, maybe the winner of Rick Story versus Gunnar Nelson, or even Neil Magny, who's a 4-0, so not 4-0. He lost like Sergio Moraes before that, but is on a 4-fight win streak right now. Mike Pyle is perfect for guys like Jordan Mein, perfect for these prospects, If you want to give him like an Alex Garcia, the loser of Cote versus Thompson, you can give him guys like that. He's still a perfect gatekeeper. He has chin issues, but he's a very well-rounded fighter, very dangerous everywhere, nonetheless. Next fight after that, Telis Leites defeated Francis Carmon by knockout in the second round. I like what I'm seeing for Telis Leites. He knocked out Trevor Smith in his last fight, and now he knocked out the number 10 guy in middleweight in Francis Carmon. Francis Carmon, low output striker, 3 losses in a row. He might get cut from the promotion. And he doesn't have a fan-friendly style. He looks like a monster, but the guy is not like, he has a really low output style, clinches and grinds a lot as well. I said in the prediction video, and it's really showing now that Telis Leites, not a great striker, but his striking's got so much more improved that like his striking's not a liability anymore. Guys can outstrike him if they're like really good strikers, but he's starting to be able to hold his own in the striking department and showing some power now too. It was just nice. He really listened to his coaches. He was punching his way to the clinch. I thought that Leites would be able to do what Jacare did, but and get the takedown and take his back, but that didn't happen. He beat him in the stand-up, so that was really impressive from Leites. I like what I see from him. This is his second stint in the UFC, and he's just showing that he belongs, and that he's putting everything together. Another guy that's just putting everything together too, CB Dalloway would be a good next opponent for Leites. If not him, Tim Bosch, who's coming off to win over Brad Tavares. Or maybe even Michael Bisping. Leites is top 10, It's like probably like number 10 now in the top 10. He is a good fighter, and he wouldn't be the most inappropriate fight for Michael Bisping. So yeah, good stuff from Leites there. I like what I see from the guy. I noticed this, him and like CB Dalloway are really good examples of guys that like it takes a while, but they eventually put it all together. They're not like prospects that are super accelerated, that are just putting everything in MMA together at a really quick rate. But they're but nonetheless, they finally put everything together, and it's starting to show. Next right after that, Max Holloway defeated Clay Collard by TKO in the third round. Collard's got a chin, man. Jeez, if this guy had a full camp, I think he'd probably still lose. He fights with really high volume and high pressure. He just lacks technique. And against a technician like Holloway, dude, he's so composed, too. Something I mentioned in the predictions that I like about Holloway is he's really composed, and he countered really well against Collard. He couldn't even drop the guy, though, and no matter how many hits to the head he gave him. Holloway's ground, his takedown defense has always been solid, but his overall grappling is just improving these days. Took the back well. Obviously, in the third round, it was a little easier for Holloway to take the back and take mount and whatnot. But he's only 22. He's only getting better, and he keeps fighting these he's supposed to fight Rasad Bektak. They keep giving him really good prospects for some reason. It's very strange. I thought he beat Dennis Bermudez when they first fought. So he lost pretty definitively to what's his name? Conor McGregor. But Conor McGregor's really good. But I don't really know why they use Holloway the way they do. He's on a good win streak now. But yeah, he's the guy they use for prospects. And he usually, a lot of times he beats him. He just beat Andre Fili, touchy-feely. And I think Holloway is just more of an up-and-comer than a gatekeeper, even though he's been fighting in the UFC for a while. With that said, I think that Holloway should get a step up in competition. Maybe the winner of Akira Karasani versus Korean Zombie, if you want to get him something that high up. Ricardo Lamas, who's coming off that win over Joaquin Diaz. Or someone a little more closer to his level, the winner of Nick Lentz versus Charles Oliveira would work. With Collard, I'd like to see what this guy can do in a full camp. But just more lower to mid-tier guys at the division for him. Next fight after that, James Vick defeated Valmir Lazaro by a unanimous decision. Pretty sloppy fight. It was fun in a sense, that really sloppy fun way, I guess. But it really showed some pretty low-level technique from both of them. I was actually expecting a lot more from Lazaro, so I was a bit disappointed. I wonder if it was just because it was his first fight in the UFC. In the second round, he was showing to be a lot, when he was being technical, ending every combo with a kick, a leg kick. He looked good. That's the guy I saw in the videos. When he started brawling, that was not the guy I saw in the videos. James Vick is that guy that keeps he's kind of like that eternal underdog, and he keeps overperforming in a sense, you know. Ultimate Fighter House, he beat Joe Proctor and Darren Cruikshank, and then he guillotined Ramsey Najem, you know. Decent guys, you know. Pretty solid mid-level guys. And up-and-comers, you know. So, but this fight really shows his limitations. His takedown defense still isn't very good. His stand-up needs some work just on a technical level. His cardio, I don't know if it's going to be better or not. That's going to need some work too. I like what I see from him. He's still a decent prospect, but definitely needs to fix holes in his game. But he doesn't have a lot of fights. This was his 6th pro MMA fight. So, he can only get better. Lazaro trains at Novo now. He's a pretty good striker. Strikes in combination well when he gets technical. I'm hoping to see better from him in his next outing. Both these guys should just get more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. Next round, that Chas Skelly defeated Tom Inimaki by rear naked choke in the first round. What was up with that guillotine from Inimaki, man? Oi, oi, oi. Just sloppy, and that cost him. He got mounted against a cage because of that. Got his back taken and choked. I don't even think the choke was underneath the chin, but it was so tight that he had to tough out. This is now 2 losses in a row for Inimaki. He is a good fighter. It's just he made some really bad choices here. I don't know if they keep him or not. Maybe they have been keeping a lot of guys in the UFC lately. They might keep him. Chas Skelly, he's not a bad prospect. You know, he lost against Mursad Bektek, but yeah, he's a good wrestler, good grappler. Stand-up needs some work, but it is improving. And he's working on a team takedown. So, you know, just more lower to mid-tier guys at the division for him. Going to the prelims. Neil Magny defeated Alex Garcia by unanimous decision. You know, this guy's been impressing me, man. Neil Magny is a guy that came from one of the arguably worst seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. It's the one where Colton Smith won. I believe he got knocked out by Mike Ricci. Both of those guys are not in the UFC anymore. And Magny has a 4-fight win streak now in the UFC against progressively better competition. And it could be even more because a lot of people thought that he should have got the nod over Seth Baczynski. Alex Garcia is a pretty hyped prospect, and he couldn't get much going outside of some grinding, you know, some wrestling and some grinding, but otherwise he couldn't really get a stand-up going. He would throw some pretty sloppy, well, yeah, he'd throw overhand rights, I would miss pretty, you know, would just miss. And, you know, he'd be able to get takedowns on Magny. He couldn't do much with the takedowns. I believe he hurt his knee, though, during the fight. But nonetheless, I didn't really see anything that indicated that he could get past Magny's reach. But, yeah, I like what I see from Magny these days. He's showing really to use his reach really well, and his grappling's improving, and it showed against the first round against Alex Garcia here. Magny needs to step up in competition. He's probably get maybe even a Jordan Mein or Thiago Alves next. But yeah, he needs to step up. He's beating some decent guys and showing to be a pretty decent prospect, actually. Alex Garcia, his cardio works against him. He might be something of a glass cannon, you know. Not in the sense that he has a bad chin, but his cardio seems to fail him. But when he wins, it's generally pretty emphatic, because he gets a finish. Against Sean Spencer, he really didn't, though. Maybe give him like Mike Pyle next, or like, geez, the loser of Thompson versus Cote. Maybe so it worked for Magny. Another good mid-level guy would be Court McGee. That'd be good. Or maybe even like Robert Whittaker, who's coming off the win over Mike Rhodes. You can give like Alex Garcia like a Mike Rhodes or something like that. Or like Apollo Tiago if you want to build him back up. Alex Garcia was showing to be a really hot prospect when he came to UFC. Knocked out Benoit. Didn't look too great against Sean Spencer. Lost to Neil Magny. It's just the cardio. Really. It's just the cardio. Even with the reach disadvantage, he was successfully able to get takedowns on Magny. Stay on top for a good amount of time against him. So, he has other ways of utilizing offense if one thing doesn't work, but his cardio fails him. Next fight is that Beneil Dariush defeated Tony Martin by arm triangle in the second round. Dariush needs to work on his striking still, but he's a jiu-jitsu guy that's coming into MMA, and he's training with the right guys. He's training with Rafael Cordero, and it shows, but he's still winging overhand rights. During the beginning of the first round, he really couldn't find his range really well. Later in the round, though, he could find his range. And Martin's striking did look improved. He looked like he kind of gassed after a while, though. Darius showed to be the stronger grappler by getting that arm triangle. Tony Martin was holding a guillotine from half guard on the bottom. And that's just asking to be arm triangled. Darius found the arm triangle. Good stuff for him. Tony Martin has 2 losses in a row. He didn't look bad here. I would actually like to see him get another fight in the UFC, to be honest with you. And also, he's fighting some pretty decent prospects. Against his last fight, was it Rashid Magomedov, I think? Decent prospect. Beneil Dariush, decent prospect, Just give him like a lower level guy, It doesn't necessarily have to be an up-and-comer. But Dariush, just more lower to mid-tier guys of the division. He needs to work on his striking defense, though. His stand-up defense needs work. Okay, next fight after that, Matt Hobart defeated Aaron Phillips by unanimous decision. The story of the fight here was Hobart getting takedowns on Phillips. Phillips needs to work a lot on his wrestling. Striking's alright. His kicks are good, but he was still getting tagged. And, he couldn't get off the bottom of Hobart. There's really not much else I can say about the fight besides that. I don't know if they keep Phillips. He lost to Sam Cecilia before this. And now to Matt Hobart. With Hobart, decent. Both these guys are decent prospects, but they're not like blue chip prospects. They decided to keep Phillips. But both of them just more lower to mid-tier guys of bantamweight. Bantamweight needs more guys anyways, so maybe they keep Phillips. Okay, next round, I thought Ben Saunders defeated Chris Heatherly by omoplata in the first round. This was the first omoplata victory in the UFC, which is pretty crazy considering how long the UFC's been around. What's cool about this fight was that it showed me that getting kicked out of the UFC was probably one of the better things to happen as far as Ben Saunders' development. I saw him in Bellator, and I remember he fought someone and just showed this really good top game. He'd get side mount, ground and pound, and I was like, I was on Bloody Elbow, and I remember I actually messaged, I put a comment under one of his posts on Bloody Elbow, and it's like, man, you really you look really good in your grappling. Your top game looks really suffocating. And I can tell, it's like, man, his grappling's really improving. You know? And then you saw his bottom game against guys like Luis Ramos. Is it Luis Ramos? Or Santos? And, you know, it's just, you know, he has a really strong rubber guard, long legs, good. He'll throw triangles and whatnot. He'd be a bit too content off his back, but he will be attacking. And that's a good way to counter wrestlers in a sense. And he can kind of get that triangle position from rubber guard, which is pretty interesting because he has such long legs. So, in a sense, you know, I never saw that aspect of his game in the UFC. When he was first in the UFC, it was once he was in Bellator and whatnot that I started to see his ground game, and it's really good. Heck, first omoplata victory in the UFC, and he was wrenching it too. That was just great stuff from him. I think he should get maybe like a Tim Means or an Alan Jabon next. Just some guys will stand with him. With Heatherly, just more lower to mid-tier guys in the division. And finally, Wilson Hayes defeated Joby Sanchez by unanimous decision. Hayes just won with superior grappling, really. He'd take him down, take the back. Joby Sanchez would stand to his feet, maybe shake him off. You know, in the first and third round, Hayes just used superior grappling. He'd get some decent striking on Sanchez, but man, that second round scare, he dropped him twice. One with a punch, the other time with a head kick. You know, so Joby Sanchez, you know, he scrambled relatively well considering who his opponent was. I mean, wasn't Hayes top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner out there? Legit, you know, very legit on the ground. He managed to scramble out of bad position, so good for Sanchez. He has a future. Yeah, it's a pretty good future. Wilson Hayes, I think he'll be one of those tough outs, good test for a lot of guys in the flyweight division. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for UFC Fight Night 49, Dos Anjos versus Henderson. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.